So without wasting much time, I'll go straight to the point. Today we're talking about the excellent husband. The excellent husband. And I have a maximum of 39 minutes for this before we do question and answer. So first of all, I would like to take a scriptural text, which is from the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 10. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 10. And it says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. Whatsoever thy hands find to do, do it with all thy might. So that tells us that when they say whatsoever, whatsoever includes your marriage, includes your relationship with your spouse. So whether it's your career, work, whether it's your business, whether it's ministry, or whether it's marriage, do it with all your might. Because you have just one life to live. And for those of us that are married, you're only going to be married once in this lifetime. Would give your energy and strength to other things, i.e. your business, your career, and all that. You could as well give it to your marriage, and you'll be better for it. So, again, the topic is the excellent husband, and I would like to start by giving us a few definitions. By excellent, excellent comes from the word excellence, and excellence by definition means the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. So when you're talking about the excellent husband, you're talking about the husband that is outstanding or that is extremely good. In other words, that husband is beyond the regular or the average husband you see on the street. He's outstanding and is extremely good as a husband. Then the next definition is that of a husband. We all have heard of that word husband, so we're familiar with it. So I would like to let us know that the husband is both a noun and a verb. The noun means the male partner in marriage. So when you have two partners, you have one, the female is the wife, and the male is the husband. Although now in our so-called developed societies, you can see man and man, one is the husband, one is the wife, and you can see woman and woman, both female, one is the husband, one is the wife, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about a relationship with the male and female. The male is usually the husband in marriage. Husband is a noun, which is what I just said. It's also a verb, which is pronounced differently, slightly differently, and that is to husband. So you say you have something like animal husbandry, and the husband there means to manage economically. To manage economically. In other words, that word husband tells you that he has a role to be the head, to be the leader, and also to be the manager of the home. Now, when you show to the point, talking about the excellent husband, like I said, it's not the average husband, it's not the typical husband, it's not the usual husband you see. It's the one that is extremely good, the one that is outstanding in what he does in the home with the wife. So, who is an excellent husband? Simply put, an excellent husband is one that can be identified based on the roles that he plays in the home. And I'm going to list out these roles that will form the meat of our discussion to tell us who the excellent husband is. So I'll start with the first role. The first role is the husband as a gardener. Yeah, the husband as a gardener. Now, I believe we all know who a gardener is. Yeah. For those of us that can afford, or those of us that affluent homes, you know that there is somebody that is employed to take care of the plants in your house. That is where you have your garden. Usually we look down on these people because we look at them as maybe the lower class or lower paid people. But we're not talking about it in terms of how much they are paid. We're talking about them based on their role, what they do. So what does a gardener do? Simply put, a gardener's job involves cultivating plants and maintaining green spaces, including tasks like planting, watering, weeding, mowing, trimming, and ensuring the health of plants and the gardens. A garden is a beautiful place, but if that garden is not tended to, you find out that it becomes a bush. Just like in the case of Genesis chapter 1, where you have the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden was beautiful. To ensure that that garden remained in its beautiful state, God created man and put man there with the mandate to tend to that garden. So it means that Adam will have to make sure that that garden looks plush and beautiful and green at all times. So I can liken Adam to a gardener. So who is the gardener husband? I'll just pick out a few points because I have several things to talk about. A gardener husband is one that tends to the garden, and the garden in this discussion is his wife. I liken the wife to the garden. So to ensure that the wife is beautiful, well watered and tended to at all times, she needs a gardener. And what does the gardener do? The gardener makes sure that one, he provides the right environment for that garden to thrive. And what's the right environment? A home that is conducive. You see, there are different kinds of homes these days. You come to some homes and it's all rancor and fights. When you enter some homes, you can feel the tension already, that all is not well in this place. Even if you have children, even if you have material things, you have cars, you have good furniture, but when you look well, you see that there is something wrong with this home. There is tension. In some homes, there is no love. There is no joy. Everything is like an office. Everything is official. That is a house and not a home. So a good husband gardener makes sure that just the way he provides the right atmosphere for plants to grow in the physical garden, which is sunlight, water, fresh air, good soil, he makes sure that the home is a good environment for the wife to thrive. The wife needs peace. The wife needs joy. She needs love. She needs happiness in the home. The home needs to be a safe haven, so that by the time she's coming back, for instance, from work, she meets a conducive atmosphere where she can be happy. So if she's sad anywhere, she longs for going home. I have friends that are married, and when they get to work, you find out that they're the first to get to work as early as 5:30 or 6 a.m. When work is closed at 4 or 5 p.m., they're the last to go. Some stay as long as 6 p.m. And after they finish, they don't go straight home. They go to maybe a bar or a friend's house. And when they get home, it's like 9 p.m. And why do they do that? Because the home is not conducive. They are hoping that by the time they get home, the wife is asleep, so that they just sneak in, have their dinner, and they sleep off. And the next morning is the same thing. That is when the home is not conducive. So the gardener husband provides the right atmosphere, which is a conducive home. In the physical class, we didn't maybe business the flower. So a good gardener has the responsibility of removing those thorns or grasses so that the desired plant can grow. The same thing you do in your marriage with your spouse. You separate her from harmful influence. What do you mean by harmful influence? Habits that can spoil your relationship with her. People that can also spoil your relationship with her. You know very well that if you expose your wife to people that have negative character, it can affect your wife, it can influence your wife. For instance, you have talkative neighbors, or you have neighbors that are troublesome. They know how to, talk down on their husbands. If you expose your wife to those kind of people, sooner or later, they will begin to influence her. So a good gardener husband makes sure that he plucks out the weeds. He sees from afar that this kind of influence is not good for this woman. So once in a while, he comes in and observes it, and he begins to separate her by talking to her, by advising her, and giving her counsel on the type of friends that she should keep, not authoritatively or controlling, but by gentle counsel. Another thing that the gardener husband does is pruning. In the physical sense, to prune means to cut the dead parts of a plant. plant so that that can grow. That is what pruning is all about. I must tell you, it's a painful process, but it is necessary for growth. So what do I mean? A loving husband is not the one that is afraid to have difficult conversations, because some people, some husbands in the quest for peace in the home, they avoid difficult conversations because they don't want the wife to be sad. But I tell you, if you continue like that, you will end up empowering things that are detrimental to your home. Because when you see something that is going wrong in your home or with your wife, rather than talk about it, you just sweep it under the carpet and you say, oh, all is well, when all is not really well. So you must be able to have difficult conversations. Conversations about your finances. Conversations about your investments. Conversations about your children. They say when two family people come together and say the truth, and they go back laughing, one has not said the truth, because the truth often hurts. So you must be able to have those difficult conversations that bring growth. You must be able to tell your wife when she's wrong. You must be able to tell your wife when you are wrong, and apologize. That is what it's about. Your wife feels that, oh, from her upbringing and the way she sees marriage, every year you must take her for vacation to the Maldives or to Paris. Fantastic. But maybe a time comes when you don't have the funds, and you want to tell her that, honey, this time around it's not going to happen. We're going to cut our coat according to our size because of the economy. How do you say that? At times it can be a tough one. Or you tell her something that is not so nice about her family or her friends, but it's the truth and she has to hear it. That is called pruning. And no pruning is nice at all. At times you can leave both people unhappy, but the truth must be said and said in love. So that is it for the gardener husband. We can talk more about that at other times, but because of our time, we'll move straight to the other one. I talked about the manager husband. We talked about the gardener husband, the manager husband. Who is the manager? The manager is one that ensures proper planning, good resource allocation, and goal setting in an organization. That's the manager. If you are in the corporate settings, you have heard of an outstanding manager called Jack Welch. He was the manager of a multi-billion-dollar company called General Electric. And Jack Welch is known as an outstanding manager because he brought that company from a low level to a very profitable level. A good and excellent husband should be a manager husband. And what does he do? Problem solving. That's what managers do. They solve problems. There are husbands today, and when there are issues in the home, they shy away from it. Now they push it to their wife or they push it to a third party because they are not used to solving problems. Problems and life, they run together. Problems are part and parcel of everyday life. You have problems with your car, you have problems with your electricity bill, you have problems with going to work, you have problems with traffic, you have problems with raising children, you have problems with saving money, with making money, managing money, you have problems with going to the market, you have problems everywhere. So an outstanding or an excellent husband must be a problem solver. You wake up in the morning, your wife is sick. You don't know where the illness came from. All of a sudden, her leg is swelling. How do you solve that problem? You wake up one day, your child is in school, and they give you one kind of report, and they say, God forbid, there's something wrong with your child. How do you solve the problem? Suddenly, you lose your job. You don't have that same income you used to have. It's a problem. How do you solve the problem? There are medical issues. There are spiritual problems. There are women with spirit husband. How do you solve the problem? She's okay, but her family, her parents have problems. They have issues. Their rent is due. They don't have a place to stay. Rain falls, blows their roof away, and all of a sudden, her parents are homeless. How do you solve the problem? So those are things that we must learn. So the excellent husband must be a problem solver. That is what it means to be a good husband manager. Another one is maintenance. Maintenance. A good manager knows how to maintain the system. What does it mean to maintain the system? It means to keep the system running. To do that, you must be a good maintenance person. Let me give you a physical example. You get married to your wife, and she's trim, beautiful, trendy lady. After 1, 2, 3 children, you come back and look at the wife that you married some years ago. She's figure 8 wife we gave to you is now figure 11. Suddenly she looks like your auntie. She's old, tired, worn out, and all that. You must be a bad manager because you have not managed her properly. When you ask why is she like that, you say, oh, I don't know. I'm tired of her. She has added so much weight. And in some cases, some men start looking out for side chick. The ones in the university or the polytechnic around you, because your wife has suddenly become unattractive. If that is your case, then you must be a bad manager. Some cases, you get married to a lady, young, promising lady, intelligent, graduate, master's degree, reading a promising course, looking forward to fulfill her career aspirations. Then she gets married to you, all those dreams just die in natural death. You kill her dreams. You just make her a baby making machine. In the space of 5 years, she has given birth to 6 children. She can't even remember the course she studied. You must be a bad manager. All her dreams, everything gone. All of a sudden, she's relegated to the background. No, especially when that is not the plan. Such a person is a bad manager husband. So you must learn to maintain your wife. Keep her in good shape physically, mentally, and spiritually. Tend to her health. Tend to her mental health, her physical health. Tend to it. Let it concern you. Make sure that she's happy, she's strong, she's healthy, and spiritually she's thriving. That is how to be a good maintenance manager. I hope what I'm saying is making sense to the listeners. All right. So I'll go to number 3. I talked about the gardener husband. I talked about the manager husband. Now I'm going to talk about the sculptor husband. Sculptor. There is this famous sculptor that we know. He was born in Italy in the year about 1475 by name Michelangelo. I believe a lot of us know him, though we must not have met him, because if you were born in 1475 and you are here, we will begin to wonder what's going on. Michelangelo is known for his priceless work. He was a poet, he was an artist, he was also a sculptor. One of the greatest designs is the carving of David. Beautiful and priceless work of art. Now, what do I mean by the sculptor husband? A sculptor has the ability to look at a piece or a mass of stone and imagine what he can bring out of that mass of stone. So in other words, when other people see a mass of stone, what they just see is all the stone. Break it, throw it away. And like they do in Nigeria, they'll crack it, use it to fill pothole. But a master sculptor will look at it and think of what to design from that. And by the time he starts work with his hammer and his chisel, oh boy, by the time he's done, you'll be amazed at what he will bring from there. So in other words, a sculptor husband is the one that can look at his wife, and rather than see just a woman, he sees much more of what he can bring from that person. That is a sculptor husband. And they look from the outside and say, okay, this is a beautiful lady, it's going to be my wife, we're going to have children, and that is all. But there are some people that see much more than the woman. They see an accountant, they see a lawyer, they see a political analyst, they see a princess, they see a pastor in that woman, they see an evangelist, they see a dentist, a professional from that woman. And by the time they are done with that woman, you'll be amazed and what they can bring out for that woman. Let me ask you a question. We know of some very wonderful women in society today. How many of us actually know who their husbands are? But I can tell you that they have a husband that is behind them, pushing them to greater heights. For instance, you've heard of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. You don't hear about the husband much, but I can tell you that that is a sculptor husband, because if he did not give her permission to become who she is today, I'm sure for like most of us, that woman would have been in the kitchen. But she has a husband that would have allowed her to express her full capacity in her profession. You have a good gospel artist like Sisi Winans, like Sinach in Nigeria. Who are their husbands? You probably don't know. But I can tell you that behind them, there is a man that is supporting them and making sure that they become all that they can be. And today the world is blessed because of their music, because of their contribution. So you need to ask yourself, what kind of husband are you? Are you the type that looks at her and sees a greater person in her? Or the one that just sees the physique and the fact that she can raise more children for you? So to be an excellent husband, you need to be a sculptor husband. You need to be patient for her to manifest her God-given gifts, not to suppress it. Most people cannot fit in that role today because they are envious of their wife's success. The moment their wife starts earning more than them, they become jealous. They become envious of her success. And all they can do is how to cage her, because they want to be on top, they want to earn more, they want to always be ahead. But you see, if you are married to a woman and the woman loves and respects you, who earns more is not an issue, because everything she has belongs to you. So if your wife is a billionaire and you are a thousandaire, automatically by reason of your marriage, you have access to the billions. So if your wife has that propensity to do that, why stop her? If your wife can be a pilot, a celebrated pilot in your country, why stop her? If your wife can be a governor, why stop her? Because you're afraid of her success. Some men don't allow their wives to work today because they feel that if she goes to the office, other men will begin to chase her, and they begin to feel insecure of her success. That other men will start to chase her, and maybe one day she'll go to work, she will not come back. That is insecurity. High level insecurity. When you go to work and you are successful, you don't think about her. But when she looks as if she's going to become successful, there are issues. So please, don't be insecure about your wife. Be a sculptor husband. Bring the best out of her. Let her express her God-given talents and abilities to the glory of God, and it will honor you. Now stop there. The next one is the coach husband. The coach husband. There is this coach I love so much. And I said when he writes a book, I'll be the first to buy it. His name is Sir Alex Ferguson. Manager and coach of one of the most successful clubs in history, Manchester United. Sir Alex Ferguson, a Scottish man, took over that club when that club was not known. He spent decades building players and building a club culture. And today, Manchester United, by the time he was leaving, when he was retiring, was one of the richest clubs in the world. How did he do it? Discipline, encouragement, inspiration, tenacity. You need to bring that attribute to your home and do that for your wife. If you put in that energy to be a coach to your wife, to encourage her, to inspire her dreams, you'll be amazed how she will turn out. That is the difference between an ordinary husband and an excellent husband. The excellent husband is a coach husband. He mentors his wife spiritually, physically, professionally, and otherwise. He's there to keep her pushing on. You need to learn how to discipline your wife. Well, how to instill discipline in such a way that she's able to encourage her from behind and push her. You know, only 1, 2, 3. No. I believe you can progress. You need to be her coach. You need to learn the extra mile. That is a coach husband, and you need to be her greatest fan. Some of you here, your wives are ministers. The day she's preaching, you are absent. Or you are doing some administrative work because it's women meeting now, it's women thing. You are the man. So this is women thing. So you leave it and you trivialize it. The work your wife is doing, you trivialize. You don't even know her position in the office. You don't even know what she does. The wife tells you that she wants to wax an album. You are thinking of the cost. But when you want to do your own, you put all energy to it and you expect her to contribute. But when it's her turn, you say it's women thing and the man is the head of the home. So what is the woman? The neck of the home. No. You need to be her coach. Because you see, that's why a lot of guys are losing their wives. Because when she goes out there to work, there's somebody there that knows about this thing I'm talking about that encourages her in the workplace, inspires her to do much better. And before you know, she starts being attracted to that person. You say, what's going on? You start crying that my wife is no longer faithful. I'm not encouraging that. But you see, those things happen when you fail to take your place, or you think that your work as a husband is to give her babies. And you just bring money to the house, you drop the money, so she goes to the market, cook food. That is all. No, it's much more than that, sir. You must be a coach husband. Nurture her. Coach her. Teach her things she doesn't know. Be a fan. When she falls, encourage her to rise up. Don't condemn or criticize her. Inspire her to do much more beyond her limits, so that she could do much better than she's already doing. That is what it means to be a coach husband. And I hope the husbands here are listening to me as I'm talking. All right. The next one, just have a roundup, is husband. I believe you already know what that means. The shepherd is the one that tends to the flock and takes them to a place where they are well nourished. The third husband, one thing about him is that he knows how to protect his wife. Protection, believe me. Women need protection. Protection from who? Protection from your family, from your siblings. There are so many cultures today whereby when a man is seemingly successful, the siblings believe that they have a right to the man's earnings or inheritance. They have a right to the man's assets, so to say. And they just come to the house, barge into the kitchen, barge into the fridge, take whatever they want. You sure the wife is like a house help. They send her on errands. Now she's married to their brother. And they call her our wife. Our wife means that we married her. So she's now their house girl. No, and 1,000 times no. You must learn how to protect your wife. Protect her from disrespect. The way you carry your wife is the way your siblings and your family will take her. If you take your wife like a house help, they will send her on errands stuff. When you come for family gathering, they will send her, go and fetch water. Go and split firewood. I'm not saying that she should not do anything. That's not what I'm promoting. What I'm saying is that there should be some respect for your wife. The respect should start from you. You too, you must respect your wife. And when they see the way you respect your wife, other people will follow suit. That is a shepherd husband. You guide her. Guide her from emotional instability. Guide her from mental pressure. Protect her. Protect her from the pressures that the world will bring. Protect her from the pressures in the workplace. That is a shepherd husband. Lead and guide her to where she will be nurtured spiritually. Guide her. Be there for her. Stand strong for her. Don't let anybody intimidate your wife. Don't let anybody pull her down, insult or abuse her. Don't allow anybody, misuse her or disrespect her, like I said. Be a shepherd husband. Look out for her needs before she says it. Her physical needs, her emotional needs, her financial needs, even her career needs. Be ahead of her. You should know the way and show the way. Nurture, be well fed. Show her the places where she can be nourished, where she can be a better person. That is a shepherd husband. Tend to her needs. Make sure that there is not one dull moment where she will be sad or crying because she married you. It should not happen. That is what a shepherd husband does. And the last one I talked about, and I'll be brief about it so that there will be Q&A, is the lover husband. And just like the word implies, the lover husband is one that invests in the wife's emotional stability as well as sexual satisfaction. You see, a lot of are met. The Bible talks about Abraham and Sarah, even at an old age. The Bible says that they were exporting to the extent that the king, Abimelech, saw them from his window. And he was so engrossed in what they were doing that he sent for Sarah. He took her. Why? Because he saw the level of interaction and the way they were playing with one another. Men, you need to learn to invest in your wife's emotional stability. You need to be present physically for her, and you also need to know the place of sex in marriage. Women need sex. It helps them, it helps their health, it makes their skin glow, and it gives them confidence. A lover husband is available to meet the needs of the wife at all times or as much as possible. He makes sure that he's healthy and strong so that whenever the wife needs him, he can satisfy her needs. There are so many women today that are looking outside for younger men because their husbands take care of your wife, take care of her sexual needs. Show affection to her. Apart from having sex, show her affection from your heart. Touch her, kiss her, go out on dates with her, make her feel like a young girl again. Schedule time for it and make her see the importance that you take it seriously. Invest in the way she dresses, in her looks. Let her look like that. Let her attract you so that you don't start looking at other women that you will display excellence in that. Thank you.
I have one or two questions here for our minister tonight. One more time, thank you so much, sir, for that powerful session. Now, you spoke about the man being a cultivator, how he cultivates as the gardener. Yes. Now, what if a man has a wife that is maybe in terms of her personality type, she's that bossy type. She's that type that is not really ready to be taught. She feels she knows it all, and then maybe she's a perfect melancholy, all right, or maybe a choleric. And these are people that they want to take the lead, they want to take the position of the headship. So how can a man undo such a wife? A man that says that, okay, the wife is not really teachable. So what can that man do to actually help the wife? Thank you, sir.
A typical choleric or melancholy person believes that they should always lead and be in charge. But that does not restrict or stop the man from playing his role as someone who can help to cultivate. Why do I say that? Because there is a role you can play whereby you show her support, not necessarily to lead, but to support and make what she's doing better. So she wants to be the leader, she wants to be the boss, maybe in her business and all that. Fine, you continue what you are doing. but the man's role is to support. No wife will refuse support. They can refuse you being ahead and leading them because they want to take charge. But support in love is something that a woman will hardly resist. So you knowing her personality type, you know her attributes, her tendencies, you can come in and say, whatever she's doing, I'm going to support you. And by supporting, you saw in a subtle way take the lead. Because when you are supporting, you are throwing in suggestions, you are helping, you are assisting. That is cultivating. And at the end of the day, I can bet you, when she looks back, she will know that she could not have achieved what she has achieved without your support. That is being a gardener husband, because you are cultivating, you are watering, you are patient, you are helping to the overall process. At the end of the day, she's better off. That's the idea. I hope I helped
Thank
answer your
you.
question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. One more question, sir. Now, I've had reports from married women who would ask questions that, oh, my husband is the quiet type, he doesn't communicate. Once he's back from office or from work, he just goes to the sitting room, sits down, he keeps watching TV, he doesn't communicate with the wife, and the wife is getting bored at home and all of that. What advice do you have for men in terms of the place of communicating with their wife? Because there are some men that do not understand that that is very, very crucial and vital. Please, sir, I would like you to throw some light on that, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Initially, I thought you were going to talk about it from the woman's angle, but let's talk about it from the man's angle. Communication is the life wire of every relationship. If communication dies, that relationship dies a natural death. A woman naturally loves to communicate through words. Men do not communicate like that most of the time because men process their thoughts in a different way. So when you say the man is quiet, it's not as if the man doesn't want to talk, the man is processing his thoughts. And by processing, he's thinking about it. He's planning in his mind, but he's not verbalizing it. But now, back to your question. Men should understand that their wives are beings of communication. The woman loves to talk. She loves details. She loves to hear about what happened. She loves to know the details of what happened during the day. So your ability to communicate with her is crucial because it keeps her in tune and in line with your relationship. When that communication ceases, that relationship begins to dip. So for men, I will advise that you learn how to talk to your wife and speak her language. That ability to communicate is going to help you because, one, it helps her to relate with you, it helps her to understand you better, and it also helps you to bear your mind and let her know what you are going through. Because you may be carrying a lot of weight emotionally, mentally, but as long as you don't communicate, your wife does not know what is in your head. But if you desire her to help you, you must learn to bring it out. And by bringing it out, you get her to support you or to assist all those TikTok. She communicates TikTok and now become a friend. And sooner or later, that will replace you. So, men, you should make sure that in the area of communication, you are not lacking at all. Communication could be verbal, it could be not verbal, it could be by text, but you are there and you are keeping touch with your spouse. That is what communication is all about. Thank you. I will stop here because of time.
All right, thank you so much, sir. There are other questions, but I want to give room for other participants. Please, if you have a question, do well to ask your questions now as we begin to wrap up the session for tonight. Please, you have a question, ask your questions now.
Okay, Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Pastor Paul, can I go ahead?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can, sir.
Mine is not a question, right? It's a comment. And just to say, I was really blessed by Pastor Oshoke's rendition of today's message. I mean, talking about the different types of husbands, how you manage your wives, how you provide the necessary support to make her succeed. Um, the approach at which he delivered it, and of course, the examples and life examples that he also gave drove it home very well and made it, very clear. So I just want to say a very big thank you for sharing that deep insight. Not many times we get to hear about men. We always talk about women. Women must do this. Women must be the perfect people at home. They must be this. They must sit this way. They must walk this way. They must dress this way. But truly, times like this calls for us to begin to talk about men, particularly the young. In fact, for me, I think it's a ministry I feel like we should be engaging the young unmarried men now and begin to tell them how important women are, how we make sure that we see them as the partner that God has chosen for us, and let them begin to appreciate and honor women. Because today, what you see across the globe, just shows that if care is not taken, another generation from now, the disrespect, the dishonor that women will continue to get. But so, my counsel to all of us to be at home, our male children, we should begin to teach them to honor their sisters, to honor the women around them, to honor their female friends. And because once you begin to build it from home, they catch up the vision, they run with it, and they begin to impact lives going forward. Thank you very much, Pastor. That was quite impactful. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Pastor Kayode. Thank you very much. That is very good to hear from you. I take it seriously, and I feel highly honored. But I also love your perspective about talking to young men. That is what we need, more than ever these days. We need to teach this generation those values. Thank you so much, Pastor Kayode. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So finally, we have men that have the view that they would like their wives to be full housewives. And then yes, you spoke about the place of maybe insecurity and all of that. But there are some men that their minds are already made up. So, and their wives are suffering. I've been able to relate with one or two women like that. And I've discovered that some of those women are actually dying in silence. Some of them have approached pastors to help intervene, but because the husband has made up his mind, and then he just feels that no, this woman, I wouldn't allow you to go out, you have to take care of my children, I will cater to your needs and all of that. So what advice do you have for men in that divide, especially for men that are not yet married, but they have that mindset that once I get married, I want my wife to just be back home taking care of the kids, I will be the one out there working. And what advice do you have for such men in such situations, sir? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. So I would like to replace that word housewife with homemaker. It gives a different spin to it. But when you say housewife, the picture that comes to your mind is one woman that sits at home having children, but she's fat, robust, nice rapper, at her breast, and is always in the kitchen, smelling of garlic and pepper and onions. Okay. But when you say homemaker, you give it a different spin. You're talking about a woman that sits at home and dedicates her time to taking care of the children and making sure that the home is properly catered for. All right. Now, for the young men that are not yet married, I think you need to have that discussion with your intended spouse, and you need to have that discussion from a point of view of respect and not being selfish. For some, they have that traditional belief that is the place of the woman. You need to have a discussion with the woman and let the woman air her views. For some, it's out of selfishness that I will go out there, make the money, develop my career while she is at home and her career dies. So when you have that discussion, you need to understand the mindset of your woman, of your intended spouse, and understand that lady is a human being like you. She has aspirations. Probably she went to school. She has a degree. So she has something that she had in mind. Definitely, there is going to be, it's not going to be easy when she starts raising children, but it's something that you must talk about. And when you are talking about it, you are talking about it from the point of view as an equal partner in progress, not somebody that is subservient to you. An equal partner in progress, because I've seen cases where some women are not given that opportunity, and throughout their marriage, they are in frustration. They are depressed because all the years they went to study, all the investment their parents made in their education, everything is thrown down the drain. All they have been relegated to do is kitchen and the bedroom. And it brings serious frustration. And you, the man, you will not be happy at the end of the day. Because if your wife is not happy, you won't be happy. So I encourage an open conversation. Ask your wife what she wants, tell her what you want, and see where you can meet halfway. But do not be selfish about it. Consider her views also. Consider her as a co-partner in this business, not as a servant and you are the leader, as a co-partner, co-laborer. Then both of you will work it out how this is going to play out, particularly when the children start coming. Also, if you lose your job, what are you going to fall back on? So these are things that young men should begin to think about. Now, for those that are already married, I would advise that you go back and have a discussion with your wife. Is she happy? Is she happy where she is? If she's in that space, is she happy? You'll be surprised that your wife is in serious frustration. She's depressed. But because of fear of what they will say, she just keeps, following you and playing the game. But if you check her heart, maybe one of her greatest regrets in life is marrying you. You'll be shocked how many women are unhappy in their home. And you see, that is why a lot of people, when they relocate in the word Jackpa, a lot of their marriages are in trouble because suddenly the woman says she's free. Her in-laws are not around, and the laws support her. Then she now begins to show her true color. You just say, this woman has changed. She has not changed. She's just in a different environment that allows her to express herself. And she says, I want to walk. You say, no, she will not walk. She said, okay, if you will not allow me to walk, let's call it quits. You call your mother, they go for family meeting, and they will scold. They say she's not a good wife. They say she's not a good pastor's wife. And the society will always defend you, and she will always be on the losing side. So she will not talk. But if you find out what's in her heart, she's unhappy. She's frustrated. For some of us, when we go to work, our wives are crying at home because they see their mates that are engineers, that are pilots, and they want to be like that. But you've relegated her to the kitchen, to the bedroom. She's now a baby making machine, and she's now a caterer, full-time caterer, cooking food for your 5, 6, 4 children. That's her work now. So you need to have that discussion. You need to have that discussion. You need to be open and free. Don't be afraid that when your wife goes to work, they will snatch her. That's insecurity. It means you're not doing your work. Don't be afraid about that. If you are doing your work, then if you send her to go and work, she will come back in one piece. So don't let the fear of insecurity that she will earn more than you, or she will meet men that are better than you keep her in the home. That is not good. Even God will not be happy with you. So I'll rest my case here. Thank you.
Wow. Powerful. Thank you so much, sir, for that powerful response to the questions. So in the absence of question, I would also one part is that stood out. Please do that if you do not have a question. Maybe the high point for you is a nice discussion. Same goes for Grace Imafidon. Yes.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Yeah, so I jotted a few points while he was talking. Thank you for the section. God bless you. My husband, the gardener husband, and not sure manages and all that stuff. And then one thing about society is nowadays anything goes. You get whether it works or it does not work, as long as you are painting out, nobody actually cares how how it goes in there, what happens in there, whether your husband is good enough, whether it's toxic. As long as you are in the marriage, anyhow you want to do it, it's up to us. And then, but this helps us to understand and know how to deal with our partners. So, thank you very much, ma'am. God bless you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Mr. Mafido, very much.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Gracie Mafido. So, with that, we have come to the end of tonight's session. At this junction, I want to appreciate the minister for tonight, Pastor Oshioke. Thank you so much for making our time to be a blessing to us at this year's conference. I want to say a very big thank you. The Lord bless you, sir. And may you continue to enjoy God's goodness in your marriage and with the work of your hands in the name of Jesus. More
Amen.
grace, more anointing in Jesus' name. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, sir. And
Thank you.
please
My pleasure.
extend our regards to the family, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. So we have come to the end of tonight's session. I want to believe everyone have been richly blessed. Um, please make it a date tomorrow. 8 p.m. is the starting time tomorrow. We shall be having another wonderful and exciting session. Please do not miss it and do well to invite your friends and your loved ones. The Lord bless you. Thank you so much once again for coming tonight. See you tomorrow. Do have a lovely night rest. Bye for now.